Big 12 Radio. This is Big 12 Today, heard on TuneIn, watched on Big 12 Studios, along with James Westling. I am Ari Temkin. And big picture from Big 12 Hoops last night, James. And I mean, there were some wild finishes, some great games, some upsets, some close finishes. But you got to start with the end of the TCU West Virginia game. 2.8 seconds left at WVU Coliseum. It's West Virginia versus TCU. West Virginia has a 50-48 lead. These are the two of the best teams in the league. And here's how it sounded.
And for two. On the inbound, Silva for three in the win. TCU with the dagger, and it comes from Marta Suarez, the team leader in threes, and TCU. They'll look at the clock here, but otherwise TCU escapes Morgantown with a 51-50 win over West Virginia.
Yeah, Marta Suarez with the game winner from the top of the key with 2.8 seconds left to walk it off against West Virginia last night, James.
And that's a tremendous call because that game is at West Virginia. That is a home Morgantown, West Virginia announcing crew, and they called it right down the middle. That is a very difficult spot, especially for a West Virginia team that's really good, and they don't lose at home. So that's a huge win for TCU. Suarez is only continuing to get better. And she went 4 for 19 from the floor last night.
Wow.
And one of those 4 makes was the game winner. She did not have a good game. She had 7 turnovers, not 1 assist. So to get to that spot, to have the confidence when your shots haven't been falling, you know you've had a bad game for her standards and knock that down. That's guts.
Yeah.
And that is ultimate guts, leadership, it factor, closer. A huge win for TCU.
Yeah, well said. All right, last night in men's college hoops, undefeated Vanderbilt went down. 14th ranked North Carolina lost. Number 21, Georgia loses in overtime at the buzzer. SMU wins on a half-court heave. Kentucky wins at the buzzer. This was just an insane day across the sport. And in the Big 12, James, let's start with the game that you called. Texas Tech 88, Utah 74. This was a close game until the Red Raiders ripped off an 18-1 run late in the first half and pretty much were in control the rest of the way. JT Toppin with a ridiculous line. And I would say this was one of those games where you just saw the two-headed monster that is Toppin and Anderson. But Toppin with 31 points, 13 rebounds, 7 assists, and 5 blocks. Just a ridiculously dominant performance by Toppin.
And he had a 6th block that should have been a block, but it resulted in a jump ball, and so he didn't get credit for it statistically. He's a monster. And Texas Tech is an under-the-radar team that is getting better. They're the 6th best team in the country over the last 6 games via Torvik. So the improvement is there. I think we forget about their win over Duke on a neutral floor. And JT Toppin and Christian Anderson are so good that you just assume they don't have other guys and pieces around them, and that's not the case. Lawan Watts is getting better. Donovan Atwell is improving. He's one of the best shooters in the league. And JT Toppin is not at his best. That's what's scary for the rest of the Big 12. He's not shooting free throws at a high level. They've kind of changed his shot because they're trying to get him ready for the NBA, and it's resulted in some really poor foul shooting. And he didn't even attempt a free throw last night, so he's kind of shying away from contact and getting to the line. He's a little bit in his head. My point is they're working to fix that. He's going to be even more dominant. Christian Anderson is one of the most underrated point guards in this league. He just plays so under control that you almost forget about him. Like he's not a rah-rah guy. He just goes out there and does his thing. 26 points, 10 assists. He hit 6 threes, had 5 threes in the first half. And Texas Tech, they had a 24-point lead their last time out against Colorado, and Colorado whittled that down and actually missed a 3 at the buzzer that would have won the game for the Buffaloes. This time out, in about the same point in the game, Texas Tech had a 16 or 18-point lead. They go to the timeout, and Grant McCaslin is hammering his guys to close this thing out, and they did just that.
Yeah, well said. Offensive rebound. Texas Tech was really good on the boards in this one, 41-28. I think big picture, James, it's obvious, rebounding is a huge, crucial part of winning games, but it feels like rebounding for some reason is like one of the most important tells in the Big 12 right now in terms of winning and losing basketball games. All right, maybe the most surprising outcome of the night was what happened late last night. Arizona 89, Arizona State 82. And it wasn't surprising that Arizona won, obviously, as they stay undefeated. It was that they only won by 7 over a team they were favored by 21 and a half. And they rode Tobe Awaka. Awaka has been a guy that we've known as more of a defensive stalwart, more of a hustle guy, rebounder, but he had a career night. Awaka, he was fantastic, and so was Koa Pete, the freshman. He had a Cam Boozer esque freshman night last night in terms of scoring and rebounding. And this game was close late. Mo Odom hit a three to make it a 2-possession game, but missed the free throw on the next sequence, and then Arizona immediately steadied itself to kind of take control and win the basketball game.
Yeah, this was a game where Arizona State played probably as well as they possibly could have and just didn't quite have enough. Bobby Hurley's done a fantastic job this season with an Arizona State team that talent-wise, they probably don't have the roster that they had last season. But they're more connected. The chemistry is there. Masamba Diop is a problem. I mean, 16 points, 6 rebounds. He continues to get better. He's the 7'1" freshman from Senegal who is incredibly athletic. And if he played at a Kansas or an Arizona or a Duke or a North Carolina, we'd be talking about him as a high-level elite freshman. But he plays at Arizona State, who's 10-7. But they're kind of sneaky, man. Like, their net in the non-conference was top 40. They have some really quality non-conference wins. And if they can play 500 basketball in Big 12, they have a chance to get to the NCAA tournament. Leading by halftime on the road at Arizona, Arizona State played Arizona better than anybody else has in Big 12 play so far.
Yeah.
And that says a lot about what Bobby Hurley's done with that team.
Tobe Awaka, 25 points, 8 of 11 from the field, 8 of 8 from the free throw line, 5 rebounds, also a block, and was really good. And then, Koa Pete, 24 points, 10 rebounds, 3 assists, had a steal, had 2 blocks. He was fantastic in this game. And it's hard not to be impressed with Mo Odom. I mean, he's a baller. And, I think that's the difference here, James, is when the ball's in his hands, it's like he's in complete control of the outcome of that possession.
Yeah, he's a really underrated guard in a league of guards. He was a high-level transfer, went 9 of 24 last night, hit 4 threes, 23 points and 7 assists for Arizona State. I want to circle back to your comment about Awaka. Tobe Awaka had his 25 points in 24 minutes. And the biggest stat that stands out to me from his game last night is that he went 1 for 1 from 3. He hit a 3. And he hit a couple of threes in their win a couple of weeks ago against Utah. He's so dominant on the glass that teams are sagging off of him and just kind of camping out of the lane when he has the ball at the top of the key. And now he's knocking down that shot. And if Tobe Awaka hits that top of the key 3 consistently, opponents are done. They're absolutely done because Arizona's so dominant on the glass that you want to sag into the lane and get ready to rebound. And that you've got your 4-man or your 5-man stepping out and canning threes. I mean, that is just one more element to what makes Arizona so good.
BYU 76, TCU 70 last night. A.J. DeBonta took over down the stretch of this game when they needed it because this was a very close game. BYU out-rebounded TCU 30-13 in the second half of this game. So, again, rebounding, a huge, crucial component, and BYU completely owned TCU on the glass, especially in the second half. And then free throws, BYU hit 23 of 29. TCU went 12 of 18. So BYU is plus 11 in shot attempts from the foul line and made 11 more as well. And then with 2 minutes left in this game, it was 67-63. And so TCU was close. And then Richie Saunders hit a back-breaking 3 that made it 70-63. That kind of put this out of reach.
And TCU's been one of the best teams at points off of turnovers the last 2 seasons, but last night it was BYU that had their way with the points off turnovers and the fast break points. A.J. DeBonta did not shoot the ball well, especially in the first half. He got off to a really slow start, and I think the physicality of TCU bothered him. But in the second half, he adjusted. He finishes with a quiet 25. The free throws were huge. Like, BYU's not normally the team that wins games at the foul line because they're more finesse based, kind of like Texas Tech. But last night, they had to be the more physical team, and they were. So just to see BYU win a game in this manner adds one more layer and one more element to how dominant they can be, especially at home. A really nice win for the Cougars.
All right, more on these games coming up. On the way next, though, Nick Schultz, who's a college football and basketball NIL sports reporter for On3 Sports, joins us next. With James Wesley, I'm Ari Tepkin. This is Big 12 Today on Big 12 Radio, exclusively on TuneIn and watched on Big 12 Studios.